Hello everyone, welcome back. We are continuing our playthrough of T.rex Time Machine, which is this very unique game. It's an ebook, it's a choose your own adventure kind of thing, and together we guide the story where we would like to go. And it's been working really well actually. I wasn't sure if anyone would, really participate or take any ownership of the directions that we're going to take this, but it's been going well. Yesterday we started the story off. We had a bit of trouble first at university. We're accused of plagiarism, which, no way, this is our time machine that we invented. And our nemesis, who I think was called Darian Vance, he stole our research and claimed it as his own, which, Darian, mate, there's no way that you can, pull the wool over someone's eyes and and say that it's your own work. Like, you just wouldn't be able to back it up. But anyway, the university believed him. We got kicked out. But then pressed ahead, nonetheless, with our own time machine. And we got it working. And we went back into the late Cretaceous and landed our time machine, which is a Land Rover that's been converted. We landed it in a pterosaur nest on top of a pterosaur, which then we had to shoot in the eye. Poor thing. But we put it out of its misery. And then we realised that we'd killed another pterosaur as well. So I think we had to kill that one as well. And then we realised that we'd landed on a load of pterosaur eggs, so that was some more pterosaurs to the body count. And we collected a pterosaur egg that hadn't hatched, so we've got a dead pterosaur with us as well. We've got samples of everything. We've been taking pictures, we've been documenting our time in the late Cretaceous, and yeah, just generally not being the greatest explorers or naturalists or paleontologists, and getting ourselves in loads of trouble, really. Hi King, can you hear us okay? Is everything sounding alright? Presumably if you're saying hi, then yes. Glad that you can join us. There's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders to guide this early on. So yeah, that's the story. We got attacked by a pack of... I can't even remember what they were. Trudon? No, they were Compsognathus or something? Oh, I don't know. Can't remember. But they didn't kill us, fortunately, and we ended it off driving away, going on a bit of an adventure to see what else we could find, and yeah, that's when we saw some more pterosaurs. We didn't kill these ones yet. There's always time. And so we started off a new chapter. I don't know how many chapters this book actually has. Am I going to get stuck doing it 20 consecutive days? Who knows? We will find out together. Hi, Tiny Elven Mitten. Yeah, everything sounds good. I'm glad. So let's take our time machine back to the Cretaceous then. In Chapter 2. What kind of music we have in? Let's have some new music. Rise and shine, Brett yells. It's a glorious Cretaceous morning. Time's a-wasting. Oh, I didn't read the title. Duckbill Birthday. Hey, that sounds pretty good. You've slept the sleep of the dead thanks to the wilderness air. Then again, it might have something to do with yesterday's adrenaline and exertion. Ignoring your body's protests, you stand, stretch, and look around. Early morning sun streams through a scattering of cotton puff clouds to greet the conical spires of the firs. On the far side of the lake, the sun's rays spear layers of low-lying mist, turning them into a patchwork of gold. From somewhere over there, a loon-like call rises a full octave before leaping up a second one. Moments later, a response comes. That was a very beautiful introduction to this chapter, actually. Your friend pauses as he lights a fire and turns his head in the direction of the calls. I've been keeping an eye out, but they're either well hidden in that mist or too small to spot. Sure would love to see our neighbours. Me too. Brett goes to the water's edge and fills a gallon jug. Your thoughts return to yesterday's pterosaurs. Oh god. How many did we kill? Including the 2 flyers circling in silence high above the nest. You had assumed that they were the equivalent of Cretaceous vultures, but they might as easily have been the offspring of the pterosaurs inhabiting the nest, or the bigger one's additional mates. Then again, they could have belonged to another, unrelated species. You sigh with the realization that doing zoological fieldwork isn't exactly straightforward. The call comes ringing across the lake once more. We should have some sound effects for that. Is that... what's a loon? A loon-like call? I don't know what a loon is. Is that a bird? I can make it to this one. Hello, Relic Dragon. It's good to have you on board. You've got to get your decisions in early for where we take this story. So in this instance, put 1, 2, or 3. You can also say if you want to justify your decision, but we'll go on group consensus as to where we should take this. So whatever a loon is, it sounds like that apparently. The call comes ringing across the lake once more. You break out your video camera to have it ready in case they take flight. Oh, is it a bird? Okay, one of these then. In the meantime, you listen intently to the pitch and cadence as you debate whether a spot-on imitation will lure them out of hiding. That's a tall order unless you can be quite calm and precise when performing. In contrast, the simplest thing to do is write up what you know and tape their cries. Then too, if your eyesight is good and your hands are steady, you might have better luck scanning the mist-streaked shoreline with binoculars. So, do we imitate the cry to draw these new creatures closer? Do we take notes and record their vocalizations to compare with modern avian species? Ah, sorry, it is a bird. Or do we scan for the creatures with binoculars? So, ooh, 3 or 2. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to imitate the cry. I do a pretty bad job. Take notes and record their vocalization to compare with modern avian species. I think that might be incredibly useful information, because we can look for them, but then all we've got is like a visual confirmation. I think it'd be nice to actually have a recording of these things. And then we got that. We got it. So let's do that. We'll take the notes and record the visual vocalizations. You may not be terribly adept at imitating bird calls, but it's simple enough to jot down significant details and to record their cries. Could there be 3 of them? You amass an impressive amount of data about their location, the time of day, and the pitch, frequency, and duration of their vocalizations. That's a wise decision on your part, as your microphone picks up the wind in the trees, the rustle of the notebook pages, and the crackle of the campfire for a few intermittent seconds before cutting out. Your efforts really pay off. Movement catches your eye, a pair of ancient heads with pointy beaks on ostrich-like necks poke up from the mist. Brett, look, 2 pterosaurs, new ones. Wow, you're right. Brett is grinning like mad, and you can feel that you are too. Their head crests sweep backwards to form slender V's which look like L's as they tilt their heads upwards. Seconds later, a third one appears. The great winged, tailless creatures take to the air with what you'd swear are cries of joy. Oh, this is really beautiful. How quickly they fling themselves into an updraft, riding it high into the blue sky. It's hard to get a sense of their size from this distance. If only you could spend all day watching the way they circle and soar, dip and glide, playing follow the leader. There's no way to tell at this distance if the alpha is male or female, or perhaps it's an adult female with 2 juveniles. Seeing them is a challenge in itself, given that their pale leathery wings blend in perfectly with the colour of the morning sky. You do get a few snippets of them on camera, but not good ones. It seems a lot better written, this second chapter. And also, it's just the fascination with pterosaurs. Like, yeah, pterosaurs are cool, but we're here for the T.rex, I reckon. Because it's in the title, you know? The cheery sound of water bubbling for coffee draws your attention back to the campsite. Brett pours and hands you a cup. Ah, that first sip. The smell of breakfast cooking over the wood fire sets your stomach rumbling. Does anyone know why food always tastes better in the wilderness? You two chew and chat about the day ahead. The plan is to drive along the lakeshore, since the freshwater attracts all sorts of creatures, particularly in the heart of day. Already, it's approaching 80 degrees at 8 AM. How much is 80 degrees? I'm from the UK, so that's like, I don't know, 20 degrees? You're sweating as your body struggles to adjust to a 40-degree increase in temperature from back home. Anyway, it may be easier to keep to the water's edge than to plunge through old-growth forest. We'll be more likely to spot troodontids out in the open near the shore, says Brett. I can't believe how fast they were. Not to mention other marauders. You're probably both painfully aware that you've come to the precise time period and geographical location ruled by the king of the dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus rex. Although paleontologists estimate that the apex predator was scarce, all it takes is one to ruin your whole day. Taking a last bite of instant eggs, Brett asks how you're feeling. I've been better, you grumble. Fact is, your injury is starting to hurt again, now that you've got your blood circulating. Concern shadows his face. Let me take a look at it. You hesitate. While you prize self-sufficiency, Brett can do a better job than you can, and you might learn something from watching if you're not squeamish. What do you say? No need to make a fuss, I can handle it. Well, only if you insist. Okay, I can watch and learn what you do. I think... yeah, this one for 3. I mean, the first one, there's... What do you get from either of these two? Just absolutely nothing. So, yeah, watch and learn. You undo the bandage, while Brett wastes no time in pulling out a first aid kit. You shove aside your natural tendency to look away. You don't want to waste this opportunity to see precisely what Brett does. He gently cleans and treats your injury. Now don't get this wet or dirty. You promise to follow orders and swallow another antibiotic. Brett breaks camp. Normally you would help him, but you have something more immediate that needs doing. That is, check my camera and microphone and recharge the batteries. Okay, presumably we've got a solar charger, or does the time machine, can we plug batteries into that somehow? Inspect that time changer potato. So that's the name of our time machine, decided yesterday, and an incredibly awful job at actually entering the name into the software without getting it wrong. So inspect that time changer potato to make sure it's in tip-top shape. We can clean and oil the gun. We can focus on my field notes and sketches without consulting Brett, or we can focus on the field notes and sketches with Brett's input. So 1 to 5. Hey guys, Quinton's Creature Corner in the house. Hello. What's Quinton's Creature Corner? That'd be good to hear what that is. It'd also be good to hear what you think is most important for setting off on a day's adventuring in the Cretaceous. So we got camera and microphone. It's going to be so important to get information, to collect information. You can collect so much more information with cameras and microphones than you can on field notes and sketches. It's also going to be really important to make sure that we can get home, unless this is going to be a one-way trip. Cleaning and oiling the gun. I mean, again, it's self-preservation, but could Brett not do that? Why is this something that we've got to do? I guess he's putting all the camp away. So we could also focus on field notes and sketches. So there's a lot of stuff that you can't get with camera and microphone, like the layout of the topography of everything, you know, like drawing a map, showing where you're going to go, showing where things are in relation to each other, unless you were going to like film everything all the time. So it's a combination of both, I think. But I think the thing that would be of primary use might be the camera and microphone. So we've got 1, 3, 2. If I was to travel back in time and bring any extinct creature back to the present, what would it be and why? Am I bringing it back for my own enjoyment? Am I bringing it back to study? Am I bringing it back to put it back into nature? Because those are all incredibly different questions. I think if I was to get anything and, you know, like just check it out to see what it was like, I think I would go with what I know and probably say some giant sea scorpion, just because it's awesome, you know. But I'd also be interested in some of the earliest fish, something like I can't remember what it's called, Cephalaspis murchisoni. That'd be a cool fish to have a look at. See what it uses all of its sensory fields around the side of its head for. That'd be pretty cool. Or maybe even something like Tiktaalik, and one of the first fish to tetrapod transition things. Tiktaalik, Acanthostega, or something like that, Ichthyostega. That'd be cool. But anyway, back to this. We've got suggestions for 1 to 3. I'm going to leave the gun to Brett. I don't think that it's going to be 2. You know, we've only been here for a day. I would have thought you would have cleaned and oiled it before we came out. So I think that I want to do number 1. Check the camera, microphone, and recharge the batteries. Make sure we're all set for recording as much info as possible. Good thought. You use a solar cell to juice up your camera's batteries. They get drained more quickly than you'd like. The microphone is malfunctioning. You take it apart and spot a loose wire. It's a simple matter to reattach it and put the microphone back together. We actually used solar panels in the Arctic when I went for fieldwork there. We were there for 2 weeks and I was doing the equivalent of this kind of filming. So taking videos of all the fossils that we found, taking pictures, just like recording a little documentary and stuff, which is on the Palaeocast site. And we had just a solar panel, and I did not think that it would be capable of powering, you know, like a full broadcasty kind of camera over the shoulder job. But it did it impressively well, actually. So solar panels, they are pretty good for fieldwork. Once that's done, you and Brett load up the Land Rover and set out, marvelling at the giant redwoods and other unfamiliar old-growth trees. Some of them must be 10 feet or more in diameter. It's tricky driving when they're tumbled down, especially when their tops are submerged in the lake, forcing you to detour from the shoreline and then further inland. After a series of annoying dead ends and backtracks, you say, "We've made more twists and turns," Brett finishes your thought, "than a twisty-turny thing. There's nothing to do but keep going, bit by bit. The ground grows damp, then muddy in spots. That proves to be a good thing." "Stop!" Brett yells. You jam on the brakes? That's the wrong sound effect. I can't believe I had the relevant sound effect for this. "Stop! Brett yells. You jam on the brakes. He hops out and backtracks a few paces. You follow him. See that? He points at an irregular depression in the mud that looks like nothing much. Footprint! Now you see the outlines of the print, and it's huge. 3 toes splay out from partial heel impression, almost 2 feet in length and wider still. The footprint crosses your path at an acute angle. Brett's gone pale. T.rex has 3 toes. Your friend twists this way and that, peering through the dappled green canopy, and you wince. He's right. Could a T-rex hide behind one of those massive sequoias? You've no idea. Everything is so quiet. New music. Have all its prey fled? You shiver, despite the heat. But wait, lots of dinosaurs have 3 toes. This big? Brett shakes his head. Yes, this big. Think of all the fossils that we've seen in museums back home. You scrutinise the paint more closely. Print. Not paint. Print. Relief floods through you. T-rex has claws at the tips of its slender toes. Look here, fat toes. No claw marks. Brett's not terribly convinced, so you pull out a laminated chart of dinosaur footprints, which are slightly different than the drawings downloaded in your cell phone app. You point to the T-rex example. It's decidedly unlike whatever stomped through this mud. Nonetheless, you wonder how exactly you can tell if it prowled these woods 10 minutes ago, or 10 hours, or 10 days. Your friend waves a dismissive hand at your chart. Nobody's 100% certain that's what a Tyrannosaurus footprint looks like. Fair point. But we know a T-rex print has to have claws, and this dinosaur doesn't. So, what do you want to do? We follow it. Didn't we come here to find the Super Dupersaurus? Let's trace the prints back the way they came. Maybe back to the creature's lair. Partly to impress Brett, you say, I'll shimmy up this tree and have a look. Ooh. What are we doing for this one? I think that... it depends on how certain you are of the footprints. So there's with ichnology, you're never certain that you are looking at the full footprint, because a lot of the times you'll look at like different layers. So imagine you slop your foot into mud, and it passes all the way through, and the mud comes back over the top of your footprint. Over your foot, then you've just got basically a little slit of mud over the front of your foot. So it depends on like penetration, and then it also depends at which layer the rock or the sediment is that you see it. So you could have like really thin footprints if the mud is really poorly consolidated. You never really get like that classic footprint shape that you might see in, I don't know, just like wet soil or snow or something like that. So it's a tough process, this kind of ichnology. There's so many things that you have to consider when being an ichnologist. Number 1, maybe it's a doomsday rex. I say 1-2. Getting a look around would tell you if the animal's still nearby. Yeah, I don't want to fall out of a tree though. I think we follow it. We've got a car. We should be able to outdrive anything that we come across. And we might find that Super Dupersaurus, you know? Brett's eyes go wide. You mean try to catch up with it? You shrug. No idea if that's even possible. What do you say? After a pause, he replies, Okay, but I'm keeping my eyes peeled and my rifle loaded. You drive along in the direction of the dinosaur was headed, narrating your excitement as you track this unknown prehistoric behemoth. You love this sort of real-life drama. It isn't everyone who would have the courage to plunge forward, not knowing what might be around the next giant sequoia. Every few yards, Brett insists on stopping to examine a mega footprint. While you do what to verify the lack of claws, you insist that one of you stay in the Land Rover with the motor running and eyes peeled at all times. Eventually, you come to an animal trail where several sets of tracks lead in different directions. You and Brett both get out of the Land Rover and stare, trying to make sense of them. While doing so, you accidentally brush against the tree with sticky resinous sap on its trunk. Damnation! You almost got the golden gunk in your hair. While you do manage to focus on the tracks, you note no claw marks that I can see. Some prints are partially covering others. Most of the prints would be prey. True. You guess that 3 distinct types of dinosaurs use this pathway, maybe more. Thankfully, none of the tracks look like troodontids. On that much you both agree. So, which way do we go? That way, Brett points. Because? Because it beats crouching here in confusion. One direction is as good as the other. You accede to his unassailable logic. Sometime later, after manoeuvring the Land Rover through increasingly swampy terrain, you groan in frustration. You'd think these beasts would make some noise. Who knew it was possible to miss a herd of enormous dinosaurs? The plan seemed pretty easy, right up until you had to detour around one pool after another of hip-deep water. With a sigh and a glance of that time-changer potato, you say to Brett, "Where we're going, we do need roads." Haha. Nor are any more trees to climb to get your bearings. Brett hoists himself onto the Land Rover's roof and peers through field glasses. "There's good news and bad news," he says. "The good news is that I see hadrosaurs, scads of duck-billed hadrosaurs, not more than half a mile from here. The bad news is that there's more water between us and them." You clamber onto the roof. Brett passes you the binoculars and you let out a low whistle at the sight of them. Dozens of huge hadrosaurs in shades of green and brown occupy a low, steep-sided terrace on the far side of the marsh. Their bulky bodies are unmistakable, with their distinctly arched spines and stiff tails. Some graze, some amble about on 2 legs or 4. Some raise up on beefy hind legs to the point their broad snouts this way and that, scanning their territory. Their markings blend in perfectly with their surroundings. Only now do you notice that there are yet more of them sitting motionless. Gazing at the Hadrosaurus herd fills you with a curious fascination, their every paleozoologist's dream. A desire to bring back the most impressive trophy ever. Impatience, there's so much to film. Concern, it'll be difficult or impossible to reach them in the Land Rover. Energy at the anticipation of a strenuous hike up to their terrace. I think it's got to be 1, really. Any more pterosaurs to add to the body count? Not yet, but I'm sure we'll get there. No 2 claws, and if it's a theropod, then it might be an unknown species. That's true. Duck-billed Hadrosaurus seems kind of redundant. 2 legs somewhat alright, but primarily on 4 would be best. Yeah, get too close, they will kick ya. So we're in agreement 1? I think so. Surely it is all of our collective dreams, seeing as we're all paleo fans. You watch the fluid way they switch between walking on all 4s and hopping on their hind legs, hoping to spot telltale signs that they're about to bolt in your direction. And what is it they're eating? Are individual members of the herd taking turns watching for predators? Your mind buzzes with a dozen more questions. All told, it takes the rest of the morning to coax the Land Rover through the fetid swamp and then to locate shallow places where you can ford a succession of 3 different streams. Dense foliage mars the view of your quarry. At roughly half a mile from the terrace, you halt and turn off the Land Rover's engine. Who knows if the unfamiliar noise might spook them? Then, 2, you don't want to take your vehicle up the terrace's steep, crumbling banks. Best to scramble up this last leg on foot, and to carry only the gear that you think you'll really need. In addition to a full bottle of water, what do you lug with you? I'm hoping to get close. I put on my Hadrosaurus cap. Okay, we have a hat, a Hadrosaurus hat, and it's a joke one that we somehow, for some reason, we still have it with us. We've not left it in the time machine, and we would wear it. Maybe it would work. And we cram the bag pack full of specimen bags. I need my big video camera, collapsible tripod, microphone, specimen bags, and the Hadrosaurus cap to shade my eyes. I load my pistol with blanks, don my helmet with my GoPro camera clipped on, and bring a first aid kit. Ooh. Everyone saying 1? Was that to the last one or to this one? We need a. Do we need a different way of differentiating which ones you're responding to? Nah, we'll get through it. Oh, we got a 3. I didn't know we had a pistol actually. Did I miss that? 3, and if not 3-2. So we are going to get data with that, with a GoPro. Collapsible tripod, specimen bags. So are we just leaving the cap at home? Okay, we got more for 2. So let's go for 2. Democracy. A compelling movie won't just happen. It requires the best equipment you have. How much more impressive would those first moon landing films have been if they were in colour, with superb sound rather than grainy, crackly black and white video? It's quite remarkable how well the green crown and brown bill of that silly hat match the coloration of the hadrosaurs. You also take your small daily logbook. Brett brings additional water, some food, first aid supplies, and his rifle. So we do have a gun anyway. You set off, pausing every so often to consult a compass, and to wrap orange tape around tall plank stalks to mark the route leading back to the Land Rover. You're feeling pretty confident, having remembered to record your coordinates before you started off. Brett nods approvingly. Good to see you thought to do that. As you draw closer to the terrace, an occasional clack or hiss reaches your ear. After slogging through the muddy undergrowth and then up the embankment, you come to the edge of the Hadrosaur's encampment, which you can smell before you catch sight of it. If you thought the marsh stank, the combination of rotten vegetation and dinosaur poop, is worse. Oh, I see. I can't read properly, don't worry. Trying not to inhale, you hole up behind the fern that's so big you'd swear that it ingested a megadose of steroids. It conceals your entire body, and Brett's too. From there, you gawk at the behemoths, feeling like a munchkin in Oz. Behemoths? Behemoths? Anyway, to the Hadrosaur nesting grounds. The large ones rival your bedroom in length. What kind of unit of measurement is that? Bedroom length. And would brush their heads against the ceiling. Dappled and striped scales cover their bulky torsos and tails. Distinctive ridge lines send crenulations from their brows over their small brained skulls, down their thick necks and along their arcing spines, nearly to the tips of their tails. Many of them stand on all fours, dozing or placidly crunching pine cones, needles, and foliage with their broad mouths, undoubtedly enjoying the sun. But when they choose to move, you gape at the way they lumber about. All that weight shifts backwards to balance on comparatively slender ankles and fat three-toed feet. Then they drop down again and even take a few steps on all fours as they feed. Lindsay, Brett says, pointing. Those things are their nests. Low rings of greenish-brown rotting vegetation cover the terrace, evenly spaced with narrow corridors between them. You say, so this is life in prehistoric suburbia. Can't say I'm big on their colour scheme. Suburbia only without the nuclear families. Brett is right, there's one adult per nest, plus either a brood of young ones or a clutch of eggs, shaped and coloured like cantaloupes, but as big as honeydew melons. With mounting excitement you notice something significant. The adult duckbills may all be females. In many nests, newly hatched babies and youngsters squawk for attention. Like most newborn creatures, apart from birds, they're adorable with their gleaming green hides, outsized heads, and large, dark eyes. Not to mention those shiny bills that they've yet to grow into. Ha, you exclaim. Paleontologists will tell you that they're born with proportionately tiny bills. Not true for this species. Brett nods, impressed with your acumen. You fall silent, gazing across the Hadrosaurus nesting grounds stretched out before you, contemplating the unprecedented opportunity that awaits. That is, if you don't find yourself doing something, whatever, accidentally or deliberately, to rile up these massive beasts. You break out your specimen bags to collect samples from a vacant nest, film equipment, or none of the above. Look for something more exciting than these dorky cud chewers. Oh, those poor hadrosaurs. So, what's going on in the comments? So, let me guess, that unknown theropod comes running out and attacks the Hadrosaurus? Possibly. I said 2 because the first aid would be needed because of their kick. Hadrosaurs can give, basically take horse and increase it in size and strength. Yeah, I bet it would kick pretty hard. I mean, there are those of us who try to use football fields as a unit of measurement, so bedroom isn't surprising. For this one I say 2, the camera would capture some really good behaviour. I mean, if you might be able to call it 3-toed feet, but it would be better to call them hooves. I expect approaching the nest is quite dangerous. 2 is probably the safer option. 2, none of the above. Don't track baby dinosaurs. I think 2 as well. I think let's film this. What other opportunity have you got to like collect visual spatial data of dinosaur nests? Because I know that there's a lot of ones that got preserved with Maiasaura. There was a huge amount of nests, I think. I mean, Maiasaura isn't my... dinosaurs aren't my strong point. Mesozoic isn't my strong point, unless we're talking foraminifera. But from my documentary work, I remember Maiasaura has a lot of nest stuff preserved spatially, and I can't remember how big it was, the nest. It was like hundreds, thousands of nests. But anyway, let's film. With mounting excitement, you get everything set up and switch on the camera. You briefly set the scene as to where you are and what you've been watching. David Attenborough, eat your heart out. I start to film a heartwarming movie. I begin filming a scientific documentary, emphasizing cogent explanations. I commence shooting a comedy. Who would shoot a comedy in this situation? Really? Who would shoot a heartwarming movie either? I just don't understand it. Maybe it's me being, like a paleontologist, a scientist doing science communication, but you would have to film a scientific documentary, surely. Doing it. You remark that the hadrosaurs do not perch on top of their eggs. You methodically explain how you've come up with a back-of-the-envelope calculation as to what a hadrosaurus likely weighs and how sitting on hard eggs such as these would run the risk of crushing them. Next, you take a thermometer reading, indicating that the ground is quite warm, even in the shade. You then point out several nearby steam vents, and hypothesize that the female hadrosaurs may have chosen this active geothermal area as a nesting ground because it's the right temperature to incubate their eggs without poaching them. A mother duckbill in a nearby nest rudely interrupts you by making that disgusting sound one associates with cats and hairballs. What? Is that what they sound like? I mean, I've got cats, and they have hairballs, but it doesn't... Alright, okay. Only louder. She regurgitates a vile-smelling bolus of slimy green, half-digested goo, which she spews at her babies. They open their little bills wide and gulp down as much as they can. Brett can't contain himself and bursts into raucous laughter. Oh, if only we had a sound effect. It's contagious, and soon you soon find yourself helplessly chuckling too. Fortunately, the hadrosaurs ignore your silliness. You manage to regain a modicum of composure and resume filming. This ought to be a more serious endeavour. Hatching. An egg quivers, shakes, and begins rocking. Brett holds a finger up to his lips. You hear tiny taps coming from inside. How close are we? Like, we must be, like, right on top of it. These hadrosaurs are pretty chilled out. I mean, you'd expect them to be, like, really on edge if some unknown things are just, like, knocking around your nest, even if they are relatively small. A crack marches diagonally down the speckled shell. The taps turn to pecks, which produce several smaller cracks that spread out from the first one like tributaries of a river. They widen and explore new territory as the pecking increases. A fragment of eggshell flies outward, then another. A blunt beak pokes through them, followed by a miniature claw, followed by an eye blinking in the sun. With a heave and a bassoon-voiced exclamation, a little head rises up, green and shining, except for that oversized brown bill. And here comes the body, miniature crenulations running down its arched back and foreshortened tail. So the eggshells, I thought they were supposed to be more like leathery rather than hard. I know who to ask about this, but I just don't have the dino knowledge myself. I thought a lot of them were kind of ovoid rather than round, and then also leathery. Am I right in thinking that? What's with the hadrosaur hate? Cud chewers? Disgusting sound? Yeah, they're not painting them in the most beautiful light, although this little description of them sounds pretty nice. Yeah, you'd think they'd have, would be highly aggressive. Reptile, bird, and large herbivore behaviour all comes to mind. Yeah, they are pretty chilled out. Cub. Cub? What noise is that supposed to be? Cub. Cub? Anyway, cub, it chirps. How sweet. Such a pretty little striped baby. What an event to witness. Cub, cub, cub. The hatchling waves its forelimbs disjointedly and its tail too as it takes a step. Cub, cub. The baby duckbill sounds proud of its achievement, which it should be. Its mother, whom you name Mama Haddy, oh no. Not so much. She scrutinizes her newborn with a critical eye. It's walking. Do you know what that means, Brett? Your friend gives you a quizzical look. The paleontologists are wrong. They claim newly hatched hadrosaurs must be nest-bound because their joints aren't fully formed until later. Cub. Another step, and the hatchling splashes into some green glop and promptly falls face forward. No harm done. In an instant, it's up and flexing those hind legs. The baby jumps and lands closer to Mama Haddy. An astonished look fills the baby duckbill's face at its own ability to leap tall heaps of green goo in a single bound. I am going to name it, you say. I have the perfect name, Cubby. Gee, wherever did you get that name? Just because I thought of it first. With that, you go back to what you were about to do. I jot down observations in my daily logbook. With a laugh, I say to the camera, "Ha! Who needs hatchlings when you've got a Hatchosaurus?" What? Hatchimal? What's a Hatchimal? Ha! Who needs Hatchimals when you've got a Hatchosaurus? I really don't get that. I capture the endearing little baby on film, and also its mother. I explain on camera the scientific significance of what I've witnessed. Okay. So we've got 3. I don't see why you can't do 3 and 4 at the same time, but if you have to choose 3, because you can always edit in an explanation later, I would oh, that's so true. I would assume you would need more of a considerably distance. Yeah, 3 or 4 for me too. 3 because no needs for jokes. The importance is self-explanatory. We need not tell the audience what they can already see. Hind legs, claws, 3-toed. What are the hadrosaurs? They sound pretty outdated. 3. Hatchimals are a type of toy you get out of an egg. Alright, well there we go. I guess 2 is just so you blabberingly vaguely at the camera, fumbling the components of maybe a pun. 3. Yeah. I agree. 3. And when you're filming, like, one of the first things I learned when I was doing camera work for a company is that just film everything first. It's so important to get B-roll footage. Just film absolutely everything, and you don't have to use it, but if you don't film enough, you will need something and you won't have it. So film everything, and as you say, like, it's important. Like, we don't even need to say why it's important. The fact that you can see it, it's important. Cubby could not be more adorable as it cheeps and looks around with those big dark eyes. Your touching tone and spot-on camera work enhance its first precious moments. All of a sudden, the nature of the interaction between the hadrosaurs changes. Turning its demanding eye on its mother, Cubby opens its wide bill and snaps it shut. And again, and a third time. Then the baby duckbill utters an insistent wail, part outrage and part hunger. Mama Haddy reaches down and takes a huge mouthful of vegetation from the far side of her nest. You can't see exactly what kind of plant, and munches determinedly. Must be born hungry, Brett remarks. You watch intently, expecting Mama Haddy to feed her newborn. Excitedly, you burble about the universality of mother-child relationship across many, many species and down through the millennia. To think that this is the first time anyone has witnessed a dinosaur caring for its young. You and Brett and Cubby aren't the only ones eagerly awaiting what comes next. All the offspring gaze fixedly at the movement of their mother's mouth. Oh, so there's more babies. Mama Haddy turns towards the largest of her 6 other hatchlings as they all screech their demands for food. She chews and regurgitates a bolus of foliage, which they pounce upon whilst it's still in midair. Baby Cubby may be slower and less coordinated, but it sure tries to horn in on the feeding, only to have its other siblings elbow it in the head. The wee one barely succeeds in dodging away. Now, Mama Haddy chews and spits up another green bolus. Hunger compels the little baby to try again. It fares even worse than before. A couple of the siblings peck Cubby in the face. Their wide bills are sharp. Blood drips from the little baby's snout as it gets shoved from the nest. Mama Haddy doesn't intervene. Worse yet, she makes no effort to feed her newborn. Sure, she has her hands mouthful with what the demands of Cubby-rellas 6 older competitors. But little Cubby twists its head one way then another, stopping when it sees you. Cub, it coos forlornly. Cub, cub, cub. Actually, the hatchling isn't looking at you so much as it's staring at the Hadrosaurus cat perched on your head, giving it the same look that its siblings are giving their own mother. By some quirk of fate, that hat precisely matches the green markings on Mama Hattie's skull, as well as her dark eyes and the brown of her broad muzzle. It comes to you that the baby is about to imprint on you, or more precisely, it's about to imprint on your duck-billed hat. Should you prevent it from imprinting or encourage it to do so? What's best for the baby duckbill? You find this isn't an easy question. Plus, you may need to give yourself some thought to yourself. So, do we keep Cubby from imprinting on me to head off Mama Hattie's wrath? I'm a realist. Letting the hatchling imprint on me will do it no favours and risks disrupting its bond with its mother. Do we encourage the poor baby to imprint on me? I'll feed it and protect it. Do we let the hatchling imprint on me so it'll be easier to patch its wounds and film it? Or do we let the hatchling imprint on me and film Mama Hattie's angry response to enhance my adventure movie? Oh, come on. Do we really have to discuss the ethics of this? Everyone's saying 3. Prevent it. I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out what's best for the baby duckbill. No, not good. Don't intervene with nature or the timeline of history more than you have to. Don't let it imprint on you. So apparently, with regards to the timeline, there is no chance we've established in the first chapter that events that happen in the past are going to imprint on the future, so we can basically just do what we think. Do whatever we want, I think. So, not to worry about that. As cute as this baby is, I say 2, we have no idea how to care for a dino, cool as it would be to have a dino pet. So yeah, we got a lot of 2s. And I agree. It's not going to do anything for the baby. I just can't believe we wore this hat still. This newborn dinosaur has troubles enough without you creating any more. The hard truth is that the last thing it needs is for you to hand Mama Hattie a valid reason to keep on ignoring it. For all you know, she could warm to her youngest baby before too long. Besides, you're no fit parent for a baby Hadrosaurus. You sweep the hat off your head and stuff it in your pack. You and Brett freeze. Cubby stops in its tracks, blinks, cocks its head. You give it no encouragement, avoiding all eye contact. A long minute later, the hatchling wheels around to spy Mama Hattie. It makes a small hop towards her, followed by another, then a bigger one. Without as much as a single glance back at you, it resumes its demands that she feed it. It's for the best, Brett mutters. You nod. A pang of regret wells up inside you. But wait! Mama Hattie regurgitates another bolus of green goo for her favoured children only. The duckbill baby clearly isn't going to get any. It fixes those doleful eyes on you once more. Cub, cub. On shaky legs, the hatchling takes a tentative step towards you and Brett. Then a second, more determined one, and the hop. Cub, it cheeps again. At last, it's captured Mama Hattie's attention. She gives you the stink eye before her attention is drawn back to her clamouring brood. Cubby takes a handful more hop steps, the last one accompanied by a triumphant chirp. Its mother swings around to face you. She opens up that bill of teeth and hisses. Sensing that this is a pivotal moment, you hastily weigh your options. A strategic retreat or a full-out fight might be safest, but playing it too safe may do little or nothing to further your overarching goals. Of course, you could also respond aggressively, but that carries significant risks, especially if you botch it. So, back off Slowly back off a few paces and hide in the ferns until Mama Haddy and baby Cubby forget about me. Dash way back to the edge of the terrace. That should satisfy Mama Haddy. Or hiss right back at her. Most herbivores will back down at a display of aggression. Is that true? Or do we fire a blank to force her to back off? Well, surely you're retreating back into the ferns. If not even, like, way back to the edge of the terrace. I wonder how much a choice like that affects the storyline. I mean, how many choices have we made so far? How many different ways does this story go? Like, if every individual choice we have affects the rest of the story, then there must be, it'd be exponential almost, even more than that, with like 4 options per page. So it must, a load of the stories must come back into the same main storyline, just with little differences to the text or something like that later on. I can't imagine it has that much variability in it, but if it does, think about the replay value. Retreats. Run, don't hurt the mother, the babies need her. No, dash. I don't like our chances of survival if we're aggressive. You know what, I don't either. I'd go with 1, dashing might aggravate her. If you're running, that could make them chase you. So we're all going for 1. So we're going to slowly back away. In 4 big backward steps, you're completely concealed behind yet another massive fern. The duckbills can't have terribly long attention spans, can they? These dinosaurs can't be too bright. Yeah, all of this Hadrosaurus hate. If both mother and baby don't see your face or hear anything, they'll forget about you, right? Well, yes, your plan seems to work, at first. You and Brett crouch together behind the ferns for so long that your leg falls asleep. At last, you poke your head around the edge of the leaf. The Hadrosaur mother has her back turned to you and has resumed her routine of eating and regurgitating vile glop. Trouble is, little Cubby catches sight of you. It squeaks and flaps its forelimbs with excitement. Next thing you know, the baby duckbill toddles towards you, cheeping for all it's worth. You try to gently shoo the hatchling away, but that's easier said than done. Little Cubby noses into your hiding place, blinks at your shooing motions and cocks its head to one side, as though fascinated by your action. Must be even dumber than I thought, says Brett. Oh, Brett, shut up. You decide not to clap your hands and shout, or not just yet, as that would only rile Mama Haddy. Instead, with her attention turned elsewhere, you have an opportunity to learn more about hadrosaurs by trying something that plays to one of your strengths. Whether it's your hand-eye coordination, your burgeoning knowledge of first aid, your penchant for unconventional experiments, your good heart, or your proficiency at filmmaking. So, do we throw the Hadrosaurus cat onto a bush 10 feet away, hoping Cubby fixated on it so I can continue my observations? Clean up Cubby's wounds, which will be a major challenge. Take a small risk, try feeding the hatchling some leaves to find out what it eats. Or film poor Cubby's heart-rending cries of hunger and myself feeding it. None of these are good options. Oh. I'd say 1. I swear some of these options are specifically designed to provoke them. Shoot a blank, hiss, run, all of that kind of stuff that can cause problems. Cubby seems to be coming to you no matter what you choose. There's definitely some illusion of choice going on. Clean up his wounds. Oof. Do we want to do like paleo veterinary? No. Well, anything more than cleaning up its wounds. That's where it's going so far. All of those are bad. Choose the lesser evil. 1 for me too. So we go in 1. Throw the hat. Whoa, where's the music on? There we go. Yeah, let's go for 1. That does seem the most sensible option. You hold out the Hadrosaurus hat and make sure that the hatchling is tracking your movements. You toss the hat towards a bush approximately your height. The cap lands upside down in the dirt. Cubby ignores both your hat and you as it inspects your equipment. Worse yet, Mama Haddy has turned to subject you to her critical scrutiny. Frustrated, you take a big breath, bellow, "Git!" and clap your hands. Cubby freezes, balanced precariously on one leg. That oversized bill turns down as it utters a wail. The hurt in little Cubby's eyes spears you. "Now you've done it," Brett observes. Mama Haddy clacks her formidable teeth and hisses at you. Both you and Brett beat a hasty retreat and then keep going. Soon you find you've backed up so far that you're ankle deep in the swamp. At least you haven't been followed. However, this is too far away to be able to distinguish individual adult hadrosaurs. Brett steals back and retrieves your cap before you two take off. Why do you need the cap? It's causing a lot of problems. You two make a wide circle around to the far side of the nesting grounds. From up ahead, on the outskirts of the breeding colony, comes a plethora of hadrosaur voices. Peering through the foliage, you see a gaggle of immature duckbills, ranging from 2 to 5 feet in height, gabbing among themselves. "Can't say I blame them for not wanting to hang with their mothers," you remark. A squabble breaks out over a heap of rotting vegetation. The way the beasts hiss and snap, you'd think they were major predators. Fascinating. Find a safe place and film their behaviour for my science documentary. That's more like it. I'll get closer and film some great action shots. Conduct a science experiment. Hiss at the juveniles to break up the fight. Or fire a blank to get them to knock it off before they hurt each other. Oh, come on. Really? It's not going to let us leave the Haddy, is it? Nope. Now you've done it. I swear if this was real, the Hadrosaur would already long ago sent you flying. I expect so as well. Blame the mother after he irritated her. 1. Sounding like it's 1. I mean, that's... It's a very obvious choice. Action shots, I mean we've gone back in time and we're filming a science documentary. We don't need to make it have action shots. It's gonna be enough. Conduct a science experiment and hiss at the juveniles to break up the fight. That isn't a science experiment. That's just getting involved. Oh no. Or fire a blank at them to get it. Oh, come on, you can't be getting involved in that. It's 1. It's 1. Everyone agrees. You quickly choose a new audio track. Oh no, this one's still going. You quickly pick a suitable location, forgetting the big picture of the 2 juveniles as they snap at each other's flanks and use their tails to issue resounding swats. You do experience some anxious moments as their fight veers closer to you before they move away. Your clips show the rest of the herd giving them space to settle their differences. Interestingly, it's the smaller one who proves to be more aggressive and therefore prevails. The larger of the 2 turns tail and flees. The victor spends no time boasting or strutting its stuff, but rather attacks the heap of foliage with renewed gusto. Is this how they hone their ability to fend off attacks by predators? Who says herbivores can't be big and fierce? Your narration is spot on, especially when it conveys those tense moments. It's getting late. Your adventure with the hadrosaurs took so much time now that you really need to find somewhere to camp. Definitely not in the wretched marsh, and preferably not smack dab in the middle of a game trail. At last, you manage to locate a well-drained open area near a freshwater stream where you can make a quick getaway in the Land Rover if need be. That evening, sitting by the campfire with Brett, you review today's events. No, not everything went precisely according to plan, but nonetheless, the best thing about today was everything I learned about the dinosaurs, my movie, or how things are going with Brett. We can't do that last one, so I guess we are kind of ruining the opportunity at finding love. But I would much value the opportunity to film dinosaurs. What's next? Is he going to get sauropods to balance on the ball? Maybe. Who even knows what's going to happen next? But it doesn't seem like we're going to be falling in love with Brett anytime soon. Everything I learned about dinosaurs. It's gotta have to be. You fill in some gaps in your field notes, recording a few preliminary conclusions while your observations of the hadrosaurs are fresh in your mind. Brett compliments you on your diligence and your key eye for detail. You daydream of becoming the Jane Goodall of the duck-billed dinosaurs. Your second day in the age of dinosaurs turned out to be utterly awesome sauce. What if you could stay here longer than the 7 or 8 days dictated by the time windows? I'd get to do and experience so much more. I'd get to study so many more dinosaurs in depth. No thank you, I'd miss all the people back home. I wouldn't push my luck. Number 1 and number 2 aren't that much different. I mean, if you went back to the Cretaceous, you probably are just gonna look at dinosaurs, aren't you? Yeah, if it's a choice between dinosaurs and Brett, that's a pretty easy choice. No love, only dinos. You lot really are my people. Yes, no love, only dinosaurs, please. And in this case, I'm not going to miss anyone back at home because I'm in the Cretaceous. You know, when I was in the Arctic, I talk about my trip to the Arctic so much, and that is because it was awesome. We spent 3 weeks. We're in the middle of nowhere. We had a tent. We had no phones. Well, we had a satellite phone, but we weren't allowed to use it because it cost too much. And we were completely uncontactable for 3 weeks, and it was the best 3 weeks of my life. I had my cameras. I was basically doing this, but digging up fossils, trying to find the first gnathostomes, trying to find sea scorpions, worrying about having to shoot polar bears, carrying guns and field equipment, collecting things, figuring out where we're going to go, what kind of equipment we need. This is exactly the same kind of thing that I was doing, and I didn't miss anyone at home. I didn't miss my partner that much. I was just so happy to be there, to be digging and to be having these adventures. So yeah, I would get to do and experience so much more. I'd get to study so many dinosaurs in depth. I think it's going to have to be studying dinosaurs. You need to get it back to the present to share your knowledge. That's true. Dinos are love. Oh, the Arctic, nice. I've seen some cool videos at a museum of that. Yeah, it was just basically mud everywhere, but lots of great exposure of rocks. So many nice fossils. Now there wasn't that much ice or snow because we went in summer, and then it was just like 2 degrees, around 0 to 2 degrees. And we couldn't go when there was too much snow because everything's covered in snow. So, yeah. We're going to look at dinosaurs in depth. Oh, this is the end of the chapter. How long have we been going for? 1 hour and 10 already. How have we gone on for this long? You sense that you've barely begun to really dig in and get to know these creatures. With that in mind, you turn to Brett and say, I realise this sounds super optimistic, But what if I could extend our stay beyond 8 days? I believe it's possible. If I take a little bit of time, I may just be able to work out how to do it. He suddenly grows serious and a trifle sad. You've taken damage, Lindsay. We've only been here, 2 days? And look at how I've had to patch you up. As much as I might love to go on exploring forever, it isn't in the cards. You have to concede that he has a point, for now. However, you're not about to give up on your dreams so quickly. Besides, there'll be time to persuade him. And that is the end of this chapter. And so it looks like we're going on till Sunday. I hope you'll all be able to join then. Yeah, we did have the Midnight Sun. Yeah, this is also a chat as well. Feel very free to ask any questions of me. Not a dinosaur worker. I found dinosaurs. But just like general paleo stuff, field work. So yeah, there was Midnight Sun. Never went dark. It never really rained or snowed when we were there. It was just like one night that we had snow. Otherwise, it was just completely overcast most days, and it was just pretty cold. Like, it wasn't really cold, but it was cold enough that it got to you if you weren't moving around. And when you're there, like, and there's no escape from that cold, that's when it becomes a problem. And I threw accidentally one of my colleagues into a river, into an icy river. So that became a problem because she was soaking wet. So there were still dangers of being there. Yeah, and you can't really dry anything, so she basically had wet boots for the rest of the trip. Sorry, Emma. The ice wall was a joke. If you get the reference, you get it. Game of Thrones? I haven't actually watched Game of Thrones. So yeah, we're gonna... How have I not watched Game of Thrones? I watched like episode 1 and I was just like, I can't be bothered. Like, I believe it's good, but I was just like, I can't be bothered. It was too much to take on. Because I'm always busy doing science or something. Recording podcasts and doing gameplay, weird reviews of ebooks. So there we go. Yeah, so we've been going another hour long chapter. Was there anything you regretted not doing on that trip? Yes, there was plenty that I regretted not doing. We were there primarily to try and find the world's first jawed vertebrates. So those are gnathostomes, and yeah, we had the right rocks, we had the right kind of exposure. It's just a case of trying to get something that's incredibly well preserved and of the right age, and we were right on top of it. And I found the oldest gnathostome in North American continent, which is cool that I was the person that found that. But in doing so, we were looking at very specific rock types, and I was there as the invertebrate specialist. So in the Silurian, you have all of the earliest vertebrates, but you also had sea scorpions knocking around, and they were top predators. They were eating all of these fishes, and the evolution of jaws helped the fish eventually gain status in the seas. They allowed them to proliferate and to basically take over the whole food chain eventually. So it was a huge moment, the evolution of jaws. It was so important for our own evolution. Anyway, so I'm there as the one that will see all the sea scorpions and know what they are, and there were just as many sea scorpions as there were fishes that we found. But there was this one place that we went to, and I found a load of sea scorpion cuticle, and it wasn't in the rock. It wasn't inside of a rock. It had weathered out of the rock. It had fallen down the side of a cliff. And the reason for that is that if you think of most fossils that you see, they're mineralized. They've been chemically altered to, they're replaced by different, more stable minerals. So that's, like when you see a dinosaur bone, it's not made out of bone, but it's made out of rock. It's been completely replaced. But here we were getting sea scorpion cuticles from 400 odd million years ago, way before the dinosaurs, and it was essentially unchanged. It was unmineralized, and I'd seen it, and it was lying on the surface of this rock, all floppy. It was like a burst balloon. It had kind of like a thin rubbery texture. And I collected loads of bits of sea scorpion cuticle, and we went back to that site only twice in the whole trip. And it wasn't in the purpose of the trip, but we knew that it was just somewhere so unbelievably fantastic for preserving fossils. And I know that I know where it is in Arctic Canada, and I know that it has the best fossils of sea scorpions and probably of fish that have ever been found in the world. And I can't go back there because it just costs just so much. Oh, it was a flat earth reference. Now I get it. No, I meant the river. Sorry, there's lag apparently. There is a bit of lag. There's like 20 seconds of latency. So, yeah. Not watch Game of Thrones either. They say there's no Arctic and Antarctica. Those ancient creatures, permineralized and other things. Oh, cool. What's this one labeled as, this sea scorpion? What do you mean, what's it labeled as? Like, what's its species? Yeah. It was a pterygotid Eurypterid. Or there might have been a carcinosoma as well. But anyway, that would be getting into the details of sea scorpions, which you probably don't want for your Saturday night. Pretty dull. I'd have to get all like pictures out and stuff. But obviously, no one wants to write an ebook about sea scorpions. They all want to write about dinosaurs, unfortunately. Oh, Lucy has her label and Sue has hers. And I guess in this ebook we've got like cubby and stuff. Don't give it labels. Don't give it a name. It would have a kind of like a museum specimen number that I recorded, but that's written down somewhere. It's not anything interesting. Just a load of letters and numbers. But there you go. We're not as sentimental as these things. There were a few discussions that we had when we were out there, like what would we actually name new species should we find it? Because a lot of the we should write a sea scorpion book. Totally should. It'd be awful. Like no one would buy it. I'd just read it to you, like 4 people watching this or something. Yeah. I can't remember what I was talking about. So that's probably a good place to stop it. Yeah, can't remember what I was talking about. It wasn't anything important. So, tomorrow, I think we're going to have to continue this. Sunday night, whole weekend. How many chapters does this book have? Who knows? Does it have more chapters than Dead Pterosaurs? Probably not. Who knows where it will go? We've still not seen a T.rex. That is probably going to come. Are we going to die a horrible death? Are we going to get stuck in the Cretaceous? We just don't know. We just don't know. So thanks for joining today, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, same time, and yeah, thanks for joining. I'll see you all later.